In a world of 350 billion movie podcasts, two chumps have decided that now is the time for cult movies to engage in combat. Disagreements will be had, blood may be spilled, and voiceover artists most definitely will not be paid. This is Cult Film Face-Off.
Hello and welcome to Cult Film Face-Off, episode 74. With me, as always, is Chet Roivas.
Hello.
And I am Nick Leonard. Before we kick off this week's episode, I want to say a big thanks to Melanie at Plastic Werewolf on Twitter for recommending this week's pairing. On this week's episode, we have a pair of 80s lycra-clad horror schlockers to dissect. Only one can be the coveted CFFO winner, the other will be hypothetically forever wiping down sweaty, blood-soaked gym equipment for eternity. First up, and limbering up with a couple of star jumps, is Killer Workout from 1987, directed by David A. Pryor. 2 years ago, in a freak sunbed accident, Valerie was horrifically burned. Now her twin sister Rhonda runs the local fitness club when all of a sudden gym members are attacked by a mystery assailant. Killer Workout. Right, Chet. Killer Workout.
Yeah.
Ever heard of it? Ever seen it?
I've heard of it. I when I was at university, we used to watch bad movie trailers, and we watched this one multiple times, and it went down very well. It was known in the UK, I believe, Aerobicide it's called in England.
It's a great title, Aerobicide.
It is.
They should have had that rather than Killer Workout.
I think Killer Workout was only the US title, I might be wrong. But
Okay.
yeah, we watched the trailer, and it always went down well, so I was looking forward to this, but I had not seen it before now. Had you seen it?
Oh, I hadn't had the pleasure of the trailer. Should have checked out the trailer. No,
That would have probably, I mean, I'm sure to say that it summarised the best bits would have been an understatement. But yeah, okay, so first time, what did you reckon?
Right. So this is a curious film. I really like the tagline, which is "They came to get their bodies in the best shape of their lives. Too bad they'll never have the chance to enjoy it."
That's not bad. Certainly not bad.
So Rhonda owns a gym business which is booming, despite the bodies mounting up at an alarming rate.
Yeah.
I mean, this is super camp, super cheap. There is some enjoyment to be had in this. It's got a relentless synth pop soundtrack. Jane Fonda has a lot to answer for. High tempo, cheesy electro music accompanied by many sweaty, lycra ladies. I mean, this is squarely aimed at, I mean, it's titillation, it's loads of guys with fucking guns, there's loads of birds jiggling about, and there's lots of very, very unsatisfactory kills.
Oh, they're so bad, the kills in this. It should shine in that department. Kills with a giant safety pin, I mean, fucking...
an oversized safety pin being the murder weapon of choice, I think it's the worst murder weapon I've ever seen in a film.
It is the worst murder weapon of all time.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
What's your initial?
Well, I mean, I think the intro is very, very funny just because it starts out with a woman listening to voicemail, and it's one of her friends talking about a date she's going to go on, and she says, "Oh, I know my tits aren't as big as yours, but I'm sure the date will go well." And then she gets another voicemail about a job offer, and she jumps around like a caffeinated pixie, and then there's some gratuitous nudity. So I was like, did a man write this, perhaps? Do you think a bloke wrote this? Unfortunately...
Kel Surprise!
Yeah, the thing that I kept thinking of, which is annoying because I can't remember what film it was, but we've been forced to think about this film. It's a film we covered a few episodes ago, Santa Claus, where it's basically...
That had a fucking inept murder weapon as well.
Yeah, and it was basically softcore pornography. And this is not quite in that category because there's not enough nudity to sort of put it in that class, but it is supposed to be titillating. It's very, very inept. I mean, how inept... It's one of those films where you just kind of sort of marvel at the ineptitude, but how long can you do that for? 90 minutes is too long for me. I mean, the first kill, death by sunbed, that's one of the most underwhelming sequences I've ever seen in my life. And it doesn't help that there's an amazing sunbed death in Final Destination 3. And I just kept thinking about that.
That's got a cracking sunbed.
Yeah, really. And this one, where it just basically shuts on her and that's the end. And then there's sort of cameras. I mean, it's piss poor. When the story starts properly, I thought, okay, it's starting to go a little bit mad immediately because there's an aerobics instructor disciplining someone who's late to one of our classes. I was like, she's paying you money to be at a class. Why would this happen? That's the most interesting the film gets. I thought this is going to be so warped and bizarre that it's going to be a great bad film. It isn't.
No, for me, when it goes into that whole area of being warped and over the top, it is the very over-rehearsed fight sequence outside the gym. It's so random. The guys just started working there. Yeah. They have this very over-rehearsed fight, which is really butters, and then one guy wins the fight, he goes off, and then a chick turns up and just invites the other guy back to her house in the day. He's just started his job at the gym, and he's already bunked off work for the afternoon. Right. There's really not anything to recommend here. It's not odd or weird enough. There's
bits where you think, okay, right, this is going to start getting really warped, and it never really does.
No. It feels very soapy. It feels that,
I wish it was more soapy, to be honest, because soapiness is something that can be a plus in a film that I might talk about in a bit. But what's funny about this, I spoke at the beginning how this is such a bloke film. Women talking about how they hope their breasts are good enough, and then gratuitous nudity. What's also funny about it is that it desperately tries to flesh the men. The women are on the peripherals almost entirely. They keep trying to flesh the men out so that they seem like plausible. One guy's introduced, he likes bondage, he must be a suspect. Then they introduce a guy who discusses the murder and said, I hope he banged her first. Okay. It completely ignores all of the women, and when you think something interesting is going to happen, I think this might be a good film to watch stoned, because is something going to happen, and then it just cuts in another fucking montage of people dancing in the gym. It's like watching it not baked means that it's so repetitive and it's so boring, and the kills are supposed to elevate it and sort of keep you interested.
The kills are really redundant. There's all the kills. The whole 9 yards, they're all terrible. There's not any good kills in it. It's pure exploitation. It's relentless lingering on boob and bum shots.
It's one of those films where you can't believe that anyone had the wherewithal to make it in the first place. My favourite scene is where Rhonda is sat behind the desk and suddenly, out of nowhere, she stabs an apple. And I was like, whoa! That was the most exciting, because it's so totally unexpected. And then later in that scene, she says something along the lines of, half of the members are dead, the other half are cancelling their memberships. I was like, if ever there was a line of dialogue just made so that they could put it in the trailer, it's definitely that. So I wanted to find this funny. But it's just inept. How enjoyable is watching inept films? For me, not very. Inept.
And as we've said before on this show many times, tolerance levels are very low. They've got to be so shit they straddle a stratosphere of real enjoyment and real comedy. There's nothing in here.
Not just inept. People whose ideas and vision is weird. There's nothing weird. This is just sort of
bargain basement. It's very cheap.
It's tawdry and it's fucking repetitive and just inept. Okay, I'm watching an inept film, whatever. The twist, I will say, the final twist is not bad as far as these things go.
And her burn makeup is not
bad either. Yeah. So it gets a far better ending than it deserves.
There's one highlight for me on this, and it's a shit lookalike.
I've got one shit lookalike as well. It's really shit though.
Mine's pretty damn good.
Okay, all right.
So my shit lookalike, 21 minutes, 10 seconds. Rhonda is a young John Travolta.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could look up that now. I'll add it to the video. Jimmy, the guy who's set up to be the most suspicious guy in the gym. Bill Hicks.
Okay. I'll give you that. No, there is definitely an essence of Hicks on his face.
Very slightly, but stick to the trailer. The trailer I remember was a blast. So watch the trailer, I suppose. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, should we move on to the next one?
Let's move swiftly. Yeah. Let's do a couple of burpees and get on to the next one.
Right.
Michael, killing yourself isn't so hard, really. Come to me, I need you. Jump, jump, jump.
Death Spa. Welcome to the health club where you'll sweat blood.
Never work without a spotter, Freddie. Weight falls on your chest and you can really get squashed.
It's the place for a killer workout. An unquiet spirit reaches out from beyond the grave.
Welcome to my party.
For revenge.
will destroy this place. And I'll kill them all. Unless you do as I say.
Death Spa, an exercise in terror.
A fantastic weight reduction program. People get so thin they disappear.
Death Spa. Okay, I'm not convinced I'd ever heard of this film before. I hadn't seen a trailer. I went in completely blind. I watched this back to back.
I watched it back to back as well.
Yeah, with her oversight. Yeah. And immediately it starts off with a very, very easy on the eye crane shot. And then during that crane shot there's a synchronised special effect. The crane shot then turns into a tracking shot, and there's some really nice, slow, foreboding music. And I was like, yes, this is like a cleanse. Immediately, I was like, I need this.
Yep.
This is just like a remedy to everything that was wrong with the last film. And there were actually several lovely tracking shots in the film. I wouldn't recommend this to fans of bad films necessarily. I'd recommend this to fans of good films. I actually think this is a really fucking good film. I enjoyed the ever-loving hell out of it. It's basically a soap opera. I mean, everybody involved
This is very soapy, especially with anything to do with him losing the gym. Those three characters they're talking, he's pure El Dorado.
I mean, everybody involved in it, their specialty is daytime television. And I never thought that giving daytime TV an 18 certificate would be such an amazing concoction. But honestly, I absolutely loved this film.
Everyone is committed.
Yeah.
All of those performances are committed.
Yeah. The drama's well handled. The conflict between the leads is believable, and it's actually quite meaty in places. I mean, the pushy but lazy detectives are plausible, even though they're in the background. But I totally buy those people.
For me, this is 80s schlock, how it should be done.
Yeah, totally. The kills are basically awful again.
But
No. There is a couple.
No. They start fucking dull, right? You've got a chlorine vapor kill, you've got tiles flying off the wall, injuring babes, but then it gets better. Then you've got a pet deck kill, which is quite entertaining.
That is a good one.
And the Dr. Lido Murray kill, I mean, ramps up the oldness stakes massively.
Which one's that again?
Dr. Lido Murray is the bearded character who comes and he gets slammed across the walls. You've got a reverse kind of shot which shows him getting slammed. It's really, he gets brutalised. It's really odd. Yeah. There's like telekinesis involved in it.
Right.
And it culminates in the high point of the kills is when a character is off by a reanimated frozen carp.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah. I think I said the kills are basically awful because it is such a juxtaposition between. In the beginning, they're really quite bad, quite lame.
Yeah.
But
as I said, exactly that.
They certainly pick up.
Yeah. The 80s music is really good here. It's really garish. Once again, there's loads of workout clobber on show. But there's just so much more to this. There's so much more going on here than Killer Workout. Michael, who's the owner of Starbody Health Spa, who recently lost his right. I mean, this is fucking gags. She decided to just pour a load of gasoline over herself and light herself up. She already had enough combustible liquid on her fucking 80s perm. Yeah. She didn't need to put any more on. This was just so fun and had so much going on. It was way more kitsch, way more camp. I mean, for the opening scene we just mentioned there, what I really liked about it is that the kind of it builds up to where the neon sign which says Starbody Health Spa gets hit by a bolt of lightning to read Death Spa.
Yeah, that's a great touch.
It just firmly puts it in that place of where we're going.
Yeah,
and all these confusing flashbacks just added to it. I loved all the very confusing flashbacks.
The thing that struck me was there's some really brilliant moments in it. The moment where the reveal of the corpse in the locker by the blind girl who can't see it, I was like, that's a terrific little bit. And the film does go completely apeshit. What you want is these films to go fucking bananas. I mean, it's not like it's more like a pot boiler than a traditionally bad film. So suddenly out of nowhere there's a paranormal investigator who's introduced. Then there's the implication that Michael, or maybe not Michael, is maybe having sex with a corpse or a ghost. And you're just like, what?
You've got so many things going on here, right? It's like a cavalcade of plot threads and you've got incest, murder mystery, paranormal activity, possession, cross-dressing. I mean,
it's like those really pot boilerish daytime soap, American soaps. They don't make them so much anymore, or at least they're invisible now. But in the 80s and the 90s, they'd run them over here, and you think, what the fuck? They're just all of these provocative plot lines smashing into each other. The only real, I mean, it's not really a letdown, I suppose, but I mean, the fact that David turns out to be essentially Norman Bates.
Yeah.
But the film's quite inventive around that. It's not that simple. I mean, one thing I'll say about I think the real treasure of this film is the last 20 minutes.
The party scene.
Yeah, that's another thing. For a cheap film, cheap films never convey the illusion that a party is actually happening. It felt like a party. They had enough extras that was like done up enough to look like a party, but the end is so bizarre and so weird and so satisfying in ways, conversely, that you get the feeling you're watching a film that has been made by a guy who thinks he might be passing himself off as a thinking man's Dario Argento. Like, he probably thinks he's broken through into serious art, and I love that. I love it. It's like, I mean, the makers of this film are as committed as the people in front of the camera. I'm just like, this is brilliant.
Hey, the party scene is awesome because like objects are killing people, but no one is taking a blood bit of notice. You've got a smattering of recognisable faces in the cast. You've got Ken Foree, is one of the original three from Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
He crops up as the gym worker playing second fiddle to the bit of the personality vacuum that is Michael.
Yeah.
You've got who I mean, he's got a staggeringly shit wardrobe. He's got this open-chested genie outfit, which is really worth checking out.
Yeah, that is a hell of a thing.
And you have a future the future Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star Karen Parsons.
That's right, she's in the Brisbane.
Looks exactly the same age as when she's in fucking Prince of Bel-Air, like
totally.
10 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just at its best when it's kitchen camp, and I just I had a great time with this movie. And what exacerbates that is watching it back to back with Killer Workout.
Yeah.
I mean, it schools it in every single department.
Yeah, I mean that other film was just putrid and kind of just. I really have no tolerance for films like that. This is. It's not a so bad it's good film. It's a so fucking deranged it's good film. It's really good, and I will definitely watch this again. I understand why.
No, I'd like to watch it with a few. I mean, I watched it obviously stone cold,
Same here,
and I would love to watch it with a few beers
with a few people,
like-minded people.
This is a really. Like I said, this is. I would legit recommend this to people just as a good film. I think it's really good.
This is a deserved, a cult classic.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even the song at the end, Killer Groove, I think it's called. It sounds like it was written for the film. I don't know if it was.
We should put it on the end of the episode.
Oh, I'll stick it on there. But I was like, that's actually a nice little pop song that kind of seems to relate to the film, even if it didn't. I was like, that's just.
Which is just the icing on the cake of that kind of film. Yeah. Okay, so we got some correspondence. Wiley Times. I've always gotten Killer Workout and Death Spa confused. I only remember one is about a ghost twin sister or some shit, and there's a line about Beta and VHS.
Yeah, that's right. You're isn't it supposed to be like I'm Beta, you're VHS?
I'm Beta, you're VHS.
Yeah, something like that.
It's got someone's coming onto someone else. That's put down.
Yeah, that's brilliantly lame.
James Secker, Killer Workout.
Really? Better than Death Spa?
You're wrong, James Secker.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, I mean there is no goddamn contest as far as I'm concerned. Death Spa is I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I may well own the Blu-ray.
I watched it on Blu-ray.
You've got the Blu-ray?
Yes.
What? Since when?
Well, I bought it for the episode.
Oh, okay, fair play.
Yeah, it was clean as.
How much did it cost you?
Oh, I can't remember.
Is it cheap? Oh, I'm going to get it.
Just get it.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I think it was £10-15.
Killer Workout / Aerobicide. Watch the trailer if you must, but...
I think the best thing about Killer Workout is the trailer. Well, according to you, the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. But the poster, fine.
Yeah, the poster's alright.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concussive blow. That's it.
Alright, okay. If you want to suggest an episode, go ahead. And we'll do it.
Keep those suggestions coming, and we'll be back in a few.
Cult film face-off.
Found an uptown couple who'd been danced to death. Nothing left but a burnt spot on the floor. The evidence was clear, this was no accident. Killer Groove is back for more. Later on, an all-night party ended suddenly. Just a flash, then of the beast in fog.